Oh yeah, he didn't plan to become a world expert on habits. In fact, for a while, James Clear was just trying to survive. A devastating injury in high school left him broken. Unable to do basic tasks, his dreams shattered. But piece by piece, he rebuilt his life. Not with motivation, not with a miracle, but with something most people overlook. Tiny habits. Small actions, repeated daily, that quietly built the foundation for everything that came next. His recovery, his success, his impact. Today, his book Atomic Habits has sold millions of copies and changed the lives of people from every walk of life. Because it teaches one thing: you don't need to overhaul your life. You need to change your habits, tiny ones, atomic ones. And that changes everything. But here's the truth. This book isn't just about habit hacks or clever tricks. It's a blueprint for lasting change. So today, we'll bring this book to life through 10 unforgettable lessons that you'll actually remember. The ones that reshape how you think, move, and grow, one day at a time. And if you're new here, welcome to Universal Audiobooks, where we don't just read books, we bring them to life with bold narration, cinematic stories, and life-changing ideas that stick with you long after the video ends. If you love content that makes you think deeper, act smarter, and live better, tap subscribe now. Now, let's dive into Chapter 1, the core idea that makes Atomic Habits so powerful. How tiny improvements, done consistently, can lead to massive transformation. Imagine this. If you improve just 1% every day for a year, you won't be 365% better. You'll be 37 times better. That's not motivation, that's math. And that's where Atomic Habits begins. James Clear calls it the power of compound growth. You don't need massive overhauls, you need tiny improvements, repeated relentlessly. Let me give you a story. There was a British cycling team that hadn't won a Tour de France in over a century. They were mocked, ignored, considered cursed. Then came a new coach who introduced something strange, tiny upgrades. He changed the cyclists' seats, their pillow types, even had the team practice washing their hands to avoid illness. It sounded ridiculous until they started winning, and they didn't stop. They dominated the Tour de France, not once, but 6 times in 8 years. Why? Because of small changes across the board that compounded into domination. Clear explains, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The problem is, bad habits work the same way. Skip the gym once, nothing changes. Skip it for a month, now you feel it. Tiny declines add up. So what's the lesson? Stop waiting for motivation. Stop chasing dramatic change. Instead, look for the smallest win you can repeat daily. 1 push-up, 1 glass of water, 1 minute of silence. Because your life isn't the result of a breakthrough. It's the result of your routine, and every action you repeat is a vote for the person you're becoming. This next chapter is one of the most mind-shifting ideas in Atomic Habits. It's not about what you want to achieve, but who you believe you are. Chapter 2, Identity Greater Than Motivation. Most people start here. I want to lose weight. I want to write a book. I want to make more money. But James Clear says, that's the wrong starting point. Why? Because outcomes don't stick if your identity stays the same. Think about it. You can follow a diet, but if deep down you still see yourself as undisciplined, you'll eventually break it. You can go to the gym, but if you believe you're lazy, you'll fall off track. Clear flips the script with this powerful insight. True behavior change is identity change. Let me show you how that works. There's a big difference between these two responses. No thanks, I'm trying to quit smoking. No thanks, I'm not a smoker. The first one is based on behavior. The second, identity. The more often you act like the person you want to become, the more your brain starts to believe it. Want to become a writer? Don't wait to publish a book. Just write 1 sentence today. You're now someone who writes. Want to be healthy? Drink 1 glass of water, take a 10-minute walk. You're now someone who chooses health, Each small action is a vote for the identity you want to build. And the more votes you cast, the more deeply that identity takes root. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up consistently as the person you want to become. Because motivation fades, but identity, that stays. Chapter 3. Environment shapes behavior. This one is a game changer for anyone trying to build consistency without willpower. Fantastic. Now we enter one of the most practical and powerful concepts from Atomic Habits. That it's not about self-control, it's about setting the stage for success. You want to change your life? Start by changing your surroundings. Because here's the truth. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And systems start with space. Let me show you how powerful this is. In a hospital in Boston, researchers tested a simple idea. What if they rearranged the drink fridge in the cafeteria? They moved the water to the front, made it easier to grab, and without saying a word, water sales went up by 25%. Soda sales dropped. Why? Because behavior follows the path of least resistance. The easier something is to do, the more likely you are to do it. And your environment determines what's easy. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit on the counter, not chips. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow, not your phone. Want to write every day? Open your laptop to a blank page the night before. The point is, make the good habit obvious, accessible, and friction-free. Clear says it best, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. You don't need more discipline. You need better defaults. Because success isn't just about who you are. It's about what's around you. Design your environment to make success automatic and failure inconvenient. Change your space and your habits will follow. Chapter 4. Habit stacking and anchoring. It's the secret to building habits into your existing routine without feeling overwhelmed. Let's go. This next chapter unlocks one of the most practical and effective tools for building habits that actually stick, without needing more time, energy, or motivation. It's all about stacking new behaviors onto habits you already do. Here's one of the smartest ways to build a new habit. Don't create time for it. Attach it to something you're already doing. James Clear calls this technique habit stacking. It's simple, it's brilliant, and it works. Let me explain. Let's say you want to start journaling, but you keep forgetting or procrastinating. Instead of saying, I'll journal sometime tomorrow, say this: after I pour my morning coffee, I will write one sentence. That's habit stacking. It's using your existing routine, something automatic, as an anchor for a new behavior. Want to stretch every day? Do it after brushing your teeth. Want to practice gratitude? Do it right after you close your laptop for the day. The formula is this: after current habit, I will new habit. Why does this work? Because it removes the need to remember or feel like it. It becomes part of your rhythm, part of your daily script. And the more specific you make it, the more likely you are to follow through. This small shift turns intentions into actual action. And over time, that one sentence becomes a page. That stretch becomes a routine. That tiny habit becomes part of who you are. Clear writes, the secret to building a habit is to tie it to a trigger you already do every day. So don't start from scratch. Start from where you already are. Anchor wisely, stack intentionally, and let new habits grow, one step at a time. Let's move to next one, Chapter 5. The 2-minute rule, the turning point for anyone struggling with consistency. This one will lead us right into your mid-roll line. Let's be honest. Starting is the hardest part. The first representative, the first sentence, the first step out the door. James Clear knew this and gave us a powerful hack, the 2-minute rule. Here's how it works. Any habit you're trying to build, start by doing it for just 2 minutes. Want to run every morning? Just put on your shoes and step outside. Want to read more? Just open the book and read one page. Want to meditate? Sit in silence for just 2 minutes. That's it. Because the goal here is not performance, it's activation. Clear explains, a habit must be established before it can be improved. In other words, you can't optimize what you never start. And once you're in motion, it's easier to keep going. Those 2 minutes often turn into 20. That one page turns into a chapter. That short walk becomes a workout. The key is to lower the resistance so much that your brain has no excuse. This removes perfection, overthinking, and overwhelm. Because when you master the art of starting, finishing becomes natural. So don't aim for heroic effort. Aim for small consistency. That's how habits are born and how they grow. And hey, if you're loving these ideas so far, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Universal Audiobooks. It really helps us keep working hard to bring you more content that transforms how you think and live. Now, let's keep building. Chapter 6, Make It Obvious, Make It Attractive. We're about to explore how to design your habits so they pull you in, instead of pushing you away. Habits don't start with action, they start with awareness. That's why James Clear says, you can't change a habit you don't notice. The first step is to make your desired habit obvious. Don't hide the book you want to read. Place it on your pillow. Put your gym shoes next to the door. Set your meditation app on your home screen. Why? Because your brain is a pattern recognition machine, and visual cues, they trigger behavior. So the clearer the cue, the more automatic the habit becomes. But Clear doesn't stop there. He adds another critical ingredient, make it attractive. Because the more appealing a habit feels, the more likely you are to repeat it. Let's say you want to eat healthier. Instead of saying no more junk food, say, I'm going to make smoothies with my favorite fruits. Want to run? Listen to your favorite podcasts only while running. This creates something Clear calls temptation bundling, pairing something you want with something you need. It turns discipline into desire. Because habits aren't just built on logic, they're built on emotion. So design your habits to feel rewarding right from the start. Make the cues clear, make the action feel good, and your brain will crave it again and again. It's not about forcing behavior, it's about inviting it. Because when you make a habit obvious and attractive, you don't need to push yourself toward it, you're pulled. Ready to continue with Chapter 7. Make it easy, make it satisfying. This one is all about building habits that feel so good, you want to repeat them without thinking. We've all said it. I know I should do this, I just don't feel like it. That's where James Clear's next law comes in. Make your habit easy and make it satisfying. Here's the idea. If something is hard to start, your brain resists. If something is unrewarding, your brain forgets. Let's solve both. First, make it easy. Don't try to run 5 miles on day 1. Start with putting on your shoes and walking out the door. Don't try to cook healthy meals all week. Start with chopping veggies once and freezing them. Clear says, standardize before you optimize. Build the action first. Make it automatic. Then, improve it. Next, make it satisfying. Why? Because your brain is wired to repeat what feels good. It's called the dopamine loop. So how do we use that? Celebrate the habit immediately. Track it with a check mark or habit app. Say, yes, I'm doing it. Tell a friend. Smile. What sounds silly, but satisfaction reinforces behavior. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't love the act, but that minty freshness, that's the reward. Same with habits. End with something that feels good, and your brain says, let's do that again. Because repetition isn't about discipline, it's about reward. So make your habits so simple to start and so rewarding to finish that your brain can't resist coming back for more. Shall we continue with Chapter 8? Never miss twice? It's the chapter that teaches you how to bounce back from failure without falling off the wagon. Now let's talk about one of the most important mindset shifts in Atomic Habits. Because the truth is, no one is perfect. You will miss a day, you will slip, but what you do next, that's what matters most. 1 missed day won't ruin your progress. 2, that's a problem. James Clear introduces a rule that's simple, but powerful. Never miss twice. Because success isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Let me explain. Say you're trying to work out every day. One morning, you oversleep. Life happens. You skip. No big deal. But if the next day you say, well, I already missed yesterday, that's where the habit starts to unravel. One miss is a slip. Two becomes a pattern. Clear says, missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit, the wrong one. Let me give you a quick story. There was a guitarist who practiced every evening. One night, he had a headache and skipped. But the next night, he picked it up, even for just 5 minutes. Why? He said, I'm not practicing to be perfect. I'm practicing to be consistent. That mindset made all the difference. The habit stayed alive. The momentum stayed strong. You see, the goal isn't streaks, it's identity. Every time you show up, even imperfectly, you reinforce, I'm the kind of person who gets back up. So next time you fall off track, don't beat yourself up. Don't wait for Monday. Just get back on, even with a small step, because the habit doesn't die when you miss once. It dies when you stop returning. Never miss twice. Next is Chapter 9, Track It or Lose It. This one's all about using visual cues to stay motivated and how tracking habits builds real momentum. Want to stick to a habit? Make it visible, because what gets measured gets managed, gets mastered. James Clear says, habit tracking is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit, and it makes the behavior more attractive. Let me show you what this looks like. Imagine a calendar. Each day you complete your habit, you mark a big X on the date. One X becomes 2, then a week, then a streak. And suddenly, you don't want to break the chain. That's the power of visual feedback. You're not just thinking about progress, you're seeing it. Clear tells the story of a man who wanted to start exercising. He bought 2 jars, one filled with 100 paper clips, the other empty. Each time he finished a workout, he moved one clip to the other jar. It sounds small, but it worked, because each clip represented proof that he was showing up. You see, the subconscious loves closure, completion, progress. And when you track your habit visually, you reinforce success every time. Even a check mark is a small reward. It says, I did what I said I'd do. I'm becoming who I want to be. Just one warning, tracking works best for binary habits. Did you do it or not? Don't obsess over perfection. Track for awareness, not pressure, because you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. One mark at a time, one habit at a time. Track it or lose it. Chapter 10, Build Identity, not just outcomes. Most people focus on the finish line. Lose 10 pounds, make $100,000, write a book. And there's nothing wrong with that. But James Clear warns us, if you only chase the goal, you risk losing yourself the moment it's over. What happens when you hit the number? Do you stop running, fall off the diet, abandon the habit? Clear flips the script. Don't build outcomes, build identity. Let me explain. Instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, say, I'm a runner. Instead of, I want to write a book, say, I'm a writer. Why? Because when your habits are tied to who you are, they last. Clear writes, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. So start casting votes. Every workout is a vote for being disciplined. Every page you write is a vote for being a creator. Every dollar you save is a vote for being wise with money. And even if you miss a few, as long as you keep showing up, you're reinforcing the identity. That's the real reward of habits, not just the result, but the transformation of who you become in the process. So forget perfection, forget quick fixes, build your identity, one habit at a time, because your identity shapes your actions, and your actions shape your life. And now, you understand the truth. Change doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from one big push, and it definitely doesn't require perfection. It comes from the smallest decisions, made consistently, from voting for the person you want to become, one habit at a time. Whether you want to get in shape, build a business, or simply become a better version of yourself. It doesn't start with motivation, it starts with identity. This is what James Clear gave us with Atomic Habits: a system, a science, and a strategy for lasting transformation. You now have the tools. Make your habits obvious, make them attractive, keep them easy, and always make them satisfying. Miss a day? Never miss twice. Fall off track? Step back on. Track your progress. Stack your wins. Build your identity. Because in the end, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And starting today, you know how to raise that level. If this video helped you, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe to Universal Audiobooks. We post bold, life-changing audiobook summaries every Sunday at 10 a.m. Stories that stick to your soul and sharpen your mind. Want to read the full Atomic Habits book? The official link is in the description below. Grab your copy in English or Hindi and let the transformation continue. Until next time, start small, stay consistent, and cast votes for the future you're meant to live.